At this time, I will call the November 20th, 2023 County Council meeting to order. Our first item of business is invocation and pledge of allegiance, and I'll recognize Watts Huckabee from District 6.
Thank you. Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you on this Thanksgiving week with open hearts and open minds of thankfulness. We ask that our guests and those that are listening online to pray for council and county staff as we discuss and plan for the future of York County. Dear Lord, help each York County leader and those listening to our meeting digest the perspective of others and be open to conversation as to why their position may be worth considering as we govern on behalf of all the citizens of York County. Thank you for all the opportunities you bestow upon us, dear Lord. In your name we pray this prayer. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Our first item of business tonight is the oath of office for newly appointed board and commission members. Is Annette Killian here tonight? All right, she's coming in. Ms. Killian, if you'll come forward and just stand in front of the podium, our county attorney will meet you up front and swear you into office. On behalf of the council, I want to take this opportunity to say thank you for agreeing to serve in this capacity and to do so in a volunteer manner. The council simply cannot do all of the work that needs to be done at the county level. We rely on our boards and commissions to do that, and we very much appreciate your time and your effort to do that.
Okay. I do solemnly swear I'm duly qualified for the Constitution of this state to exercise the duty of the office to which I've been appointed, and that I will, to the best of my ability, discharge the duty thereof, and preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of this state and of the United States. So help me God. Thank you.
We do have one appearance tonight, Kristen Kund with, I probably messed that up, I'm sorry, with York County 4-H to address the council regarding the importance of 4-H in York County.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are these eggs from the Atkins farm? There you go.
Well, good evening. Thank you again. A little less than a year ago, I was presented to the County Council as the new 4-H agent. Since then, we've tripled our 4-H enrollments. We now have 400 members in the county. We have 24 clubs. Of those, 8 of those are after-school 4-H clubs that are happening in our elementary schools here in the county. We also have a dog club, a shooting sports club, 2 homeschooled STEM clubs, our Cloverbud Club, which they're adorable. We have like 25 kids ages 5 to 8, and just this past week they created knot tie blankets to donate to the senior citizens centers. We have a teen council, of which you see a lot of them here with you tonight. Horse clubs, a dairy club. We're starting a wildlife education program where kids will go and learn about wildlife habitat management processes and learn to identify different wildlife here in South Carolina. And then we actually now have 4 individuals who are trained to lead us in archery here in the county to allow youth to shoot archery in York County, which is super exciting. It's been a lot of growth. It's been a really great year, and I'm excited to allow you to hear 2 of our 4-H'ers tonight tell you about their 4-H story.
My name is Gavin Lewis, and I am one of the 400 proud 4-H'ers in this county. From the very first day I joined 4-H, I was welcomed in a community that values growth, leadership, and community service. The emphasis on the development of life skills has been a cornerstone of my 4-H experience. Through various projects, workshops, and activities, I've learned the importance of responsibility, teamwork, and perseverance. Those lessons have been instrumental in shaping me into the person I am today. When I first joined 4-H, I swore up and down I would never do anything in agriculture or anything of the sort. Now, only 2 years later, I'm a proud poultry showman and venturing out. How that happened, I have absolutely no idea, but I like to call it the 4-H effect. 4-H has allowed me to spread my wings more than I thought I would, and without the help of my 4-H family, agent, and most importantly, the support of the legislators, none of this would be possible. I'd also like to give a special thanks to the York County's 4-H agent, Miss Kristen Cundy. For every little thing she does, she goes above and beyond to do her best in helping us youth and securing our success. She truly makes the best better, and York County could not have asked for a better agent. Anywho, the impact the legislative has on York County's 4-H is tremendous. And without you guys, most of this would not be possible. Speaking for all 4-H County 4-Hers, thank you for supporting us in all that you do. Thank you for your time.
Why 4-H matters to me. My name is Caroline Crook, and I have been a member of 4-H since I was 8 years old. I am 16 now. Currently, I am a part of York County's 4-H Teen Council and the 4-H Hot Shots team. 4-H has impacted my life substantially in many ways. I have learned how to grow my knowledge individually, invest in my community, and reciprocate the knowledge I have learned to others. Throughout my time in 4-H, I have learned valuable skills. Through cooking and teen council, I have learned to improve my public speaking, which is something that I believe has held me back in the past. I will not allow it to anymore. I have also learned about gardening, how to work with poultry and horses, and about gunmanship. Even though gunmanship is my focus now, I believe all of these things have made me more well-rounded and has allowed me to connect with a more diverse community. Community service is extremely important to me. 1 Peter 4:10 says, "Each of you should use whatever gifts you have received to serve others as faithful stewards of God's grace in its various forms." I truly believe that 4-H is a gift that has provided me the platform to impact my community in a positive way. Through Teen Council, we do various things, like food drives, gift drives, and educating people on the harmful effects of tobacco use. One of my favorite quotes is by Martin Luther King, which reads, "Everyone can be great because everyone can serve." The most impactful thing that I've been able to do through 4-H is to educate others on things I am passionate about. The main way I do this is through my 4-H Hot Shots team. When I first started to teach the kids, I was really nervous, but it has become something that gives me great joy. Often I am able to see the exact moment a kid begins to understand something. The feeling that this gives me, I would not trade for anything. 4-H matters to me because I've accumulated knowledge, been able to give back to others, and I've been able to educate people. 4-H is not just something one does through childhood. It continues with us through our entire lives. I will be graduating soon, and because of 4-H and my York County 4-H agent, Mrs. Kristen Cundy, I plan to join any community programs that my future college offers. Your support of 4-H in York County has made a huge difference in my life and in my communities. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Kristen, for your leadership with 4-H. It's important to our community, and I especially want to thank all of the folks in the green here tonight for using your gifts to serve our community. That's a great way to get you started in our community service program, and thank you so much for your words tonight and for your willingness to serve. We do have a few folks for our public forum session. Just a few things to say. If you're here to speak on a public hearing item, then if you want to, you can wait until we get to that part of the, we only have one public hearing here tonight. You can wait and we won't cut you off. This is an opportunity where we get to hear from folks who sign up on the forum. We want to address council. We don't engage with you. We don't answer questions. It's just our opportunity to listen to you. We do cap that to 2-minute increments, and it looks like we only have a few folks. We have 4 folks here tonight, so we should be able to get through that. If you'll do me a favor when you come forward, please state your name and give your address before you start speaking. And if you'll look up at the screen, it will let you know when you get close to your time being out. It'll turn yellow and then it'll turn red. And if you can cut off your comments before when the red comes off, then that keeps me from having to do that for you. Our first item is Allison Woodruff. Our first sign up, excuse me.
Allison Woodruff, 1335 Highway 161 South in York. I'm speaking to you all this evening on behalf of the volunteer board, Keep York County Beautiful. I am the staff liaison for that group. And I just wanted to give you an overview of the board, as it does differ for some other boards and commissions in relation to the at-large seats. So I'm going to read what I have. I normally am not great at reading. I just want to talk, but I only have a minute and 30 seconds, so I'm going to hurry up. The Keep York County Beautiful Board, KYCB, is a 13-year-old working board dedicated to educating and empowering this community through waste reduction, recycling, litter prevention, and beautification projects. The volunteers do so much more than litter pickup and have meetings. They are a project and program-based board that works year-round. Reducing KYCB to only 7 district seats will severely hamper the amount of positive programming and outreach. Historically, at-large seats have been easier to secure, while at times some of the KYCB district seats have remained unfilled for more than a year. Board volunteers assist with well-established York County collection and recycling programs such as household hazardous materials and document shredding events, Earth Day Birthday, America Recycles Day, and more. Reducing the board members will mean fewer volunteers, and that means more county funding will be required to pay for more staff at events. The value to York County: since 2010, KYCB has logged over 7,000 volunteer hours valued at $233,000, plus $190,000 in grant funding for projects related to the mission. We've given over 87 mini grants to organizations that promote beautification, waste reduction, and litter prevention. The board's recommendation is to keep our current structure as it is. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Andy Clinton.
So Andy Clinton, 2741 Oakhurst Drive, Rock Hill, South Carolina, 29732. Wanted to touch on that as well. We're another one of those organizations that you guys are exploring and looking into transitioning from some of that large seats to the 7 district seats. Some similar reasoning there. Our main interest, we're a tourism organization. 80% of our funding comes directly from hotels. So I want to make sure that, I think the 7 district seats are great. We have 15 total seats, the 7 district seats, the 8 at large. I predominantly use those 8 at large seats for hoteliers, for restaurant owners, for attractions, organizations, companies that utilize, how we're ultimately funded. So that's just where, I do think that we're currently situated at a good spot. It's myself. I've spoken with my board, executive committee. I do have my board chair back there as well, staff. I do think that we're currently situated in a good position. And it's just a fair representation of our organization. I just think that a lot of where our money comes from, that they should be a representative of our board. Once again, I do understand why you're bringing it to the table. Understand that you want to see consistency throughout all organizations, but I don't think it's quite an apples to apples thing. I think our organization is different from others, and that's how we should be represented a little bit differently from a board makeup standpoint. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. We had Eve Martell.
I'm Evie Martell. My address is 205 Park Drive, Fort Mill, South Carolina, 29715. And this year I'm the STEAM ambassador for York County 4-H. Agriculture is really important to everybody in this room, but it's not the only thing that 4-H does. In 4-H, we're encouraged to find our spark, or what we love to do, and I found my spark in education and STEAM, or science, technology, engineering, art, and math. One of the things I decided to do for my ambassadorship this year was start a STEAM club for homeschoolers. We have it once a month at one of the libraries in York County. I prepare the lesson and work with our agent, Ms. Kristen Cundy, to purchase supplies for the meetings. We actually had it this morning, and we worked on the engineering design process by building popsicle stick bridges. 4-H is great for all kids, even ones who don't have the space or aren't interested in raising or keeping animals. 4-H has really helped me find my spark, and I would like to thank you for supporting us so that more kids can find theirs. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Kylie Beamgard.
I'm Kylie Beamgard. I live at 1840 Beamgard Road. And I count myself fortunate that 4-H has always been a really big part of my life. And that's been for pretty much as long as I can remember. When I came around, my sister had already started her own 4-H group. And she was already super huge into it. It had already been a big thing for her. So as that kind of inspired me to want to do it myself. I can remember watching the big girls of my group get to go show and get to go do all these fun things, and that really interested me, and I was like, wow, I really want to do that myself. And that I could not wait until it was my turn. So the second I turned 5 and was allowed into 4-H, I joined. And I've always done the horse project, so that is my big thing. And I joined with my pony Kiwi, and in 4-H, I've learned a lot of lessons about persevering and not giving up. When I fell off, I had to get back on, and I had to learn about working and communicating with a partner who doesn't speak my language, who doesn't communicate with me the same way that I can with someone who speaks English. And I really appreciate that 4-H gave me that opportunity, and I want to spread 4-H and give that to other people. And this year I've had the pleasure of becoming a 4-H ambassador with the Horse Project, and I hope that I can inspire more people and get that project out more. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. I've been very impressed with the folks. That concludes our public forum session, but one thing we didn't get to do was to take a photo with the 4-H group. If we could, Karen, can you get a photo? If all the folks with the 4-H group would come forward and stand right in front of the council bench, we'll scoot together and get a picture. Anyone who wants to come forward. Just a little bit. Go. Ready? Thank you, folks, for coming out.
Excellent. Great job.
We move now to our consent agenda. Do we have a motion on consent agenda?
Motion to approve.
Second. Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries unanimously. We move now to our first and only public hearing tonight. Rezoning action, hold a public hearing, consider second reading. Case number 23-44, tax map number 488-0000-002, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 5, 53, 00, 00, 006, 32, 100, 103, and 104. This is a PD amendment for 1.43 acres in District 2. Do we have a report? We're starting over here.
It's okay.
Hey, Diane.
This is a request to amend the Allison Creek PD. It's located between Daimler Boulevard and Westport and Highway 49 and 274. It's approximately 1,400 acres. So the request this evening is to be able to amend the POD requirements table to delete a section that there's a statement that says the POD 4 must have at least one connection to West Liberty Hill Road. And so the request here is to actually remove that statement, to remove that connection. As you can see the aerial map there below, pod number 4 is where the Clover School District is located, and they have to do a connection that goes to West Liberty Hill Road, and so they remove that connection with this amendment here. And this is considered a major amendment. Staff recommends approval, same thing with the Planning Commission by a vote of 7-1. It does not change the allowed uses that are allowed in this pod 4 or the PD itself, and it does not change how this PD will function. Any questions of staff?
I think that there are some questions that folks have reached out to us, and I think the main one being, why was this determined to be a major versus a minor amendment? And can you please, I think it's been shared with us that this doesn't, since it doesn't change the beneficial use, is that, that's really something that staff determines, not council. And if you could explain that, and also provide assurances that this does not set precedent in any form or fashion.
Sure, as you can see from the next slide there, it does show there's a snip from the actual DA, and one of the, go to the next one. It says there, if it's, and I can't read that from here, but it's any kind of change to the traffic circulation. So removing a connection clearly changes the traffic circulation, and that makes this request here a major PD amendment. We will look at everyone that comes forward based upon this section here, as well as these list of conditions. So this does not make a precedence for this one or anything in the future. It's all based upon what the code says.
Any other questions for staff before we open up the public hearing?
No, I think that was the only question I had. Yeah.
Thank you, Diane. Is there anyone here who wishes to speak against this zoning request? Is there anyone who wishes to speak in favor? If you want to speak, you can come forward. This is the public hearing portion.
Hello, Sheila Quinn, Superintendent of Clover School District. Thank you for allowing us to be here tonight. I want to thank the council for taking up this issue and helping us remedy a situation that was generated by problematic language in the plan development regarding our school site. As background, Clover School District purchased Pod 4 in 2010, and the development agreement that governs all the surrounding pods was amended so that our pod could be used as a school. The accompanying plan development, or PD as it's called, contains language related specifically to Pod 4 to provide a connection from Pod 4 to West Liberty Hill Road. Back in March and April of this year, the County Planning Department determined that the word connection meant a full public access road from West Liberty Hill Road to Daimler Boulevard, now called Cannonball Run. This interpretation by staff put a public road going through the middle of an elementary school and high school site. Additionally, it put public cars in proximity to the back of the high school site, where students will be outside for sports, class change, and other events. CSD, Clover School District, has spent several months contesting that definition of the word connection and presenting different options that could meet the connection requirement. But today we are seeking the council's support to amend the PD to remove the required connection to West Liberty Hill Road. And we have obtained all the appropriate signatures from surrounding pod owners to make this very small specific change. We have 4 reasons that we're asking for this. First and foremost, it's safety. We do not think it is safe to have a public traffic coming through a school site. Secondly, we believe that the Office of School Facilities also has a great deal to do with this needing to be removed. OSF has strong requirements for the segregation of driveways and roads that students and staff and parents and buses must travel on a school site. This road complicates that. Third, West Liberty Hill Road is a narrow, rural road. It cannot handle the extra traffic of 2 schools. The neighbors and the church on that road do not want or need this additional traffic. And finally, the intersection of West Liberty Hill Road and Highway 274 does not have the best line of sight for a left turn for traffic to go back towards Lake Wiley. So putting more traffic in the situation of having to turn left would increase the hazards. In conclusion, what CSD is asking is a very simple change that does not impact the intended use of the property. It doesn't even impact our traffic flow on our site, as we are having all bus and car traffic coming off of Cannonball Run. It simply removes the public cut-through road through our site, and it makes our plan safer. So thank you for your support.
Good evening. My name is Mark Hopkins, and I am Chief Operations Officer for Clover School District. I want to thank you for providing me an opportunity to sort of add some context to the journey that brought us to this request before you tonight. Our initial site concept plan included a connection to West Liberty Hill Road as outlined in the PD, as have all of our subsequent submittals. The first concept that we designed had a connection that was a gated service road that provided access to the physical plant and the facility so our maintenance crew could have access. The district and our engineers felt that this met the intent of the PD language, specifically and solely the phrase, "at least one connection to West Liberty Hill Road." This language is in the PD and is what we're requesting to change. After a much cordial discussion and debate, the planning staff of the county formally confirmed the county's interpretation of that phrase to mean an open connection between Cannonball Run and West Liberty Hill Road. In effect, we must provide for an unrestricted public access road between Cannonball Run and West Liberty Hill. This interpretation presents a host of safety concerns which Dr. Quinn just touched on. We have continued to push forward with our design with a connection as defined by the county. We have worked with the South Carolina DOT and the Office of School Facilities to meet both their and the county's requirements for traffic designs. Unfortunately, these don't always line up and aren't always congruent. Additionally, back in August, I had the opportunity to meet with a group of residents around our site and on West Liberty Hill Road. From that meeting, I gathered that we discussed a lot of the variations in the design over time, how that's changed, what impacted those changes. They seem to be in agreement of our concern with West Liberty Hill Road, and specifically those residents on West Liberty Hill Road wanted to avoid any impact to that road if possible. We also offered during this process alternatives to the county for their consideration. For example, allowing us to close the road during school hours, restricting access with potentially gates, and even making it a one-way through avenue. None of these were agreed upon as adequate solutions to the problem, and in the end, it seems like our only alternative was to reach the point of requesting for a change in the PD. I want to say that the county staff has been very helpful shepherding us through this process, especially Diane. I want to thank her. And during this process, I had the opportunity to speak with every single pod owner within the development. Their signatures in your packet indicate their support for this change and for the success of the school site at large. I want to reiterate to the council the same points that I made to those pod owners. That ours is the only pod within the development that touches West Liberty Hill Road, and the only pod for which the PD uses said language in any context. Our application has no impact on any pod individually or the development generally, and in our view allows the district to design a safe and efficient campus traffic pattern that serves our new high school and new elementary school shared campuses. Although we have respectfully disagreed with this interpretation, the district appreciates the continued effort by the county to work with us through the challenges of site approval. I want to thank Mr. Hudspeth, especially and his staff, for being responsive to our questions and concerns, and for sitting down with us just last week to work through the comments on our last submittal to ensure hopeful success at our next submittal, which, by the way, we did make today. So I want to thank everybody for your time. We appreciate you taking this under consideration. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Good evening, members of the council. Madam Chair, I'm Matt Burris, a member of the Clover School Board of Trustees. I'm here tonight to speak to you on behalf of my colleagues on the school board, as well as our constituents there in the Clover School District. I want to start by saying that it goes without saying that we believe in strong public schools in our community. This site in particular that's up for discussion tonight has been planned for a school for over 13 years, and the voters supported the need for another high school because we do not want overcrowded classes. The voters of Clover and Lake Wylie approved this bond referendum for a school specifically on this site. The public has been waiting to see the district break ground for over a year now. Instead, the district has been dealing with multiple hurdles to get this site approved, to get this permit to construct. This connection requirement that we're discussing this evening has been a major part of the problem because the district's engineering firm has had to redraw the site plans and recalculate traffic impact analysis several times to try and meet the traffic flow requirements in the PD in the 2008 ordinance. We need the county staff to work with the district and apply flexibility in interpreting the PD, the DA, and the related ordinances when it is possible to do so. We know that's not always possible to be flexible, but when it is, we hope that common sense and reason can prevail. School sites are not residential developments. Schools have different needs and considerations, especially related to the Office of School Requirements, as Dr. Quinn mentioned earlier. We've already wasted precious time debating the word connection, our interpretations of it, and when we believe a more flexible determination of that word, especially related to a school use, could have already been made. We are very grateful that you've given us this opportunity to make this change now, and we look forward to your support in this endeavor. Thank you.
Does anyone else wish to speak in favor?
Hey, my name is Michael Schoenfeld. I live at 2549 Pass Road. I also work in Clover on Main Street. I did put together a 4-page document, which I will not read because I think Dr. Hopkins, Mr. Burris, and Dr. Quinn so eloquently addressed the issue. I did want to do one thing to read one thing to you. Well, first of all, I took a ride yesterday over to the site. And first of all, it's a beautiful site, and I want to thank the council, especially for Allison Creek Park, while I was over there. It was quite a thing to see. I even hiked up all of Nanny's Mountain, so we have some good things here. I remember reading in a paper from the UNC School of Government years ago, and I'm perhaps paraphrasing. It said, interpreting zoning ordinances could be tricky, for they may be imprecise and development continually evolves. And terms are not always clear. Reasonable minds may disagree, and the correct interpretation and application of a particular provision or ordinance, however, will be a hard determination to make. In this case, this is not a hard determination to make. After driving up there yesterday, seeing the maps, speaking to some of the school board members, this project has taken a little too long, and we need these schools built, this school built as soon as possible. Because the people who sat in your seats way before you did allowed tremendous growth in this county. Allowed people like me to come here. You know, I might have a Brooklyn accent, but I do bleed, you know, Clover green and Clover blue. And we need to educate these children as soon as possible. So hopefully you can remove this impediment and we can move forward. Thank you for your time.
My name is Jeff Ledford. I live at 2095 Cutter Point Drive in Lake Wylie. And as a representative of the Lake Wylie Chamber of Commerce and as a Lake Wylie taxpayer, we need your help. The item in question is a connection between two roads that's being interpreted as a road. This part in question is holding up starting construction on a new high school, Lake Wylie High School, that was approved by the citizens over a year ago. Plus, anyone with common sense would know having a connecting road going through the middle of a school campus just isn't safe. I'm being told the construction crews are already getting nervous that they will not be able to get this completed in time for the 2026-2027 school year. In order to have kids in the school for the fall of 2026, they would have to start getting support staff into the building no later than June of 2026. The longer we delay, we're talking about increased costs for materials and ultimately increased costs to the taxpayers. And the need for additional school space is not going away or decreasing. It is believed that if we don't get construction started by February of 2024, we will miss the 2026 opening date, all because the county council, we need your help to work with the planning commission to help interpret this connection. We need a yes vote from you tonight in order to get this project moving. Thank you.
My name is Winston Martinez. I live at 739 Arrow Point Court in Lake Wylie. First of all, I want to thank you very much for your time and your consideration to making this change to the Cannonball Run or Daimler Chrysler Boulevard. We're at the year-to-date. Last year, Lake Wylie approved a bond to build a high school at Daimler Chrysler. If we all got to a room and we all sat down and used a little bit of common sense, I would say by now we'd be moving some dirt. But I get it, red tape, going back and forth, and we still haven't moved any dirt. Every day that we've delayed this project, it has cost us, the taxpayer, more money. Every day that we've delayed this project, we have done a disjustice to our children. We have not built this school to alleviate the overcrowding that we're facing in Lake Wylie in the Clover School District over a sentence. That, to me, seems to be an overreach. I think we could have gotten this resolved 9 months ago. So I'm asking you tonight, let's all get in a room. Let's figure this out. Let's get South Carolina DOT, York DOT, whoever it's going to be, Department of Engineering, Clover School District. Let's all get up at a table and let's iron this out. And let's get moving. Because as we've already have heard, if we don't get this done and get moving dirt by February, my son, who's supposed to be the graduating class of that high school, ain't gonna make it. And forget about some of the classes that were supposed to be in there, okay? And also remember, the economics that we're in today, every day, inflation is going up, cost of materials going up, and as our expenses go up, we're gonna start losing capacity in that school. And we lose classrooms, that means where do we put the next development that comes into Lake Wylie? Where do we put those kids? So I'm asking you guys tonight, please, let's use a little common sense. Let's all get in a room. Let's get it done, because I know we can do it. Thank you.
John Goss at 5717 Lake Wylie Road. First of all, like everyone else, I'd like to thank the council for taking this issue up, and let's get this connection issue, this change to that developers agreement straightened out tonight. I would like to voice my concern, though, why it's taken this long to get where we are right now. I mean, that bond passed over a year ago, and simply because of an interpretation of a connection of a small road into a very small road, as Dr. Hopkins addressed earlier. A determination was made at the county level, hills got dug in, and that was it. That forced Clover School District to have to go get in touch with every pod owner and get agreements that we need this change, will you sign off? That's 6 months right there of the year that we've been waiting. That's dumped on Clover School District's lap simply because of one person actually, but one department will say, digging in their heels and saying, that little tiny road needs to be this big 2-lane highway that doesn't make any sense. I mean, you got to say, where is the common sense? And a year later, here we are. I'm hopeful that the council tonight will grant this change, but I hope we'll also look further and say, how did we get here, and how do we keep setting this happen again? Because until Clover School District starts moving dirt, it's not over. I'm just waiting for the next shoe to fall. I hope there's not one, because as been spoken to earlier, the need for this to happen immediately, we have a huge group of students in the middle school levels right now. When this high school was first discussed, CSD's looking at the population of students, and this is tsunami, and it's coming to the high school. We got one high school. It's the same high school I graduated from many years ago. It's been expanded a little bit. It can't get any bigger. And they knew that it was coming. It's literally a tsunami. And so that was the push to get this bond passed, to get this high school built. We've lost a year already. That tsunami used to be just over the horizon. It's over the horizon. It's coming right at us. It's coming for the beach. We're running out of time. So I ask that this get approved tonight. I ask that the council encourage the planning department to work closely with Clover School District. They've just turned in their site plan again. The last one they turned in, there was a handshake agreement that that'll be good, just turn it in, and then the goalpost got moved. No more goalposts getting moved. As for the interpretation of a major change versus a minor, that should have never happened. Got a master developer here tonight. He and the council rep at the time when that development agreement was passed, both got in contact with the planning department and said, you're interpreting that wrong. That is not what was intended. We're the ones that passed it. But again, hills were dug in, and Clover School District has suffered as a result. So I just think we got to do more. We got to do better. We got to stop this from happening again, and get this moving. You know, I looked at the major and the minor changes, what constitutes major and minor changes, got them on my phone. What struck me is other minor changes have been made to other pods. D.R. Horton is working out there right now. They've had a couple of changes that were more significant than this, just like that. But this one, a year later, and it has the feel that Clover School District has been held to a different standard, and that's just wrong. And one last thing in closing, that Grand Tree ordinance should not apply to schools. Anytime that money is taken for the Grand Tree ordinance, building a school, you're taking taxpayer money that was earmarked for the schools, pay for our kids' education, build their schools, taking that and putting it in the Grand Tree slush fund. That's wrong. The county should not touch one penny of our kids' money earmarked for education. Thank you.
Do we have a motion to close public hearing?
Motion to close?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, public hearing is closed. Do we have a new motion?
Motion to approve?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yeah, I'll go ahead.
Mr.
and
Audette?
start. Yeah, so, you know, spending 8 years on the school board in Fort Mill, you know, we saw the cost of things go up exponentially, you know, every month. You know, when we were building schools, it was, you know, the cost doesn't go down. It continues, goes up. The competition for contractors, the expenses are astronomical. And when you look at a situation like this, you know, at the end of the day, we've got several things that I think that we really need to examine here. From what I call an agile environment, okay? We need to live in an agile environment. What I mean by that is when we have something like this, I think that, and it has to come to council, I think we need to, again, move things along as fast as we can, because at the end of the day, the taxpayers are paying the brunt of this, okay? I think that this is an example of where we can do better, okay, from moving things quicker. I'm glad to be moving forward to having this conversation tonight and to moving forward with this yes vote. But I think there's takeaways here that we can do and work on as we move forward to, when we have something like this come along, we can get it to council quicker, and we can be that advocate for the taxpayers. So that would be my comments. Thank you.
Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. We move now to our old business, item number 1, which is the rezoning action for case number 23-26. My understanding is that that has been officially withdrawn by the applicant and that there is no action for council to take on that. Mr. Kendry, is there anything that council needs to do to memorialize that tonight?
It's been withdrawn by the applicant. They're not going to pursue it, just to announce that if it is to come back to the council, there will be another public hearing scheduled.
Yeah, no, the mic's not working so well. At this point, there's nothing that council, no other action that council needs to take. The applicant has withdrawn their application for this. Move now to new business. Council to approve an architectural and engineering services contract with CPL in the amount of $439,803 plus 10% contingency for project 20312 Corners Facility Project. Do we have some comments from staff? This is an item that council, I'll just note that council had a workshop on this at our last council workshop, which was last week, and that I think there were a number of questions that council had to follow up on that. So I think we're going to turn it over to you to respond to those questions.
Yes, management and staff recommend approval of the architectural and engineering services contract for the Corners Facility Project. This contract will include schematic design, design development, permitting, construction documents, bid and construction phase services, and furnitures, fixtures, and equipment. As we'd sent out last week some information that had been requested. That included a summary of where we got to where we are, efforts to look at other options as well as new construction, which included existing county facilities as well as commercially available facilities. We also looked at 13 other counties, what their staffing levels are, what their square footage are, what services they offer, and that was included as well. And right now, given the current staffing level with the coroner's office, as well as the need for morgue space, they have outgrown their existing facility, which is 3,200 square feet, which if you look at the information, that's well at the bottom of that listing of 13 counties. Mentioned previously, we have evaluated some of the other options, and we recommend construction of the new facility on the existing county property behind the family court building as the most cost-effective option. As you're all aware, $7 million was appropriated, or approved in the capital budget for the facility, and we intend to stay to work within that budget that was approved by council. And going forward, staff will work with the architecture firm and the coroner's office to develop the schematic design that meets current and future requirements. And as we mentioned in the workshop, we'll bring that back to you all for your review to keep you all advised as to how we're planning to proceed. So with that, any questions or any other comments?
Do we have any questions for staff?
I have one question. So when I looked over the schematic, where is the Sally Port? Is it on the right side? It's just not noted? It's below the coroner's office, I believe it is.
It's not designed yet.
Oh, the Sally Port. Okay.
What you're looking at is just an example. That's what she's going to do.
Okay, thank you. It's not designed yet.
It's not the design, right? This architecture firm will complete the design, but Sally Port will be included to facilitate the morgue. So
do we feel like all that'll be designed within a 9,000-foot footprint?
Yes, the architect has looked at the site, and it is suitable for what we're proposing in terms of size of the corner facility. As well as we've done exploratory work on that site, so it meets our requirements.
So you feel like this site's going to accommodate the staffing needs of the county as we sit at 300,000 citizens and roughly 2,500 deaths a year. So it's going to accommodate the staffing needs, the storage needs. You're going to have a Sally Port, and you're going to have a morgue.
That's correct.
So, and it's large enough to accommodate a little bit of growth maybe over the next decade or so?
That's correct. There are two phases, a phase one and a phase two. So there's potential to, that's one other reason why we prefer the site, is it does allow growth on that for future requirements.
All right. So phase two would be for the future growth in
That's
addition
correct.
to maybe some other services?
That's correct.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so Mike, real quick. So we did talk about in the workshop, there was a question, I think, in regards to retrofitting, and I did receive some information there on that estimated cost. And, you know, that, it answered my question to the value of this. I think this project is critical, absolutely critical. We move forward as fast as possible. I think, though, that when we move forward, I do want to make sure that we're meeting that long-term goal, that long-term need in regards to the size of the facility. and in the space that's available. So that would be definitely be my.
Understood, and we're going to work with coroner's office as well as the architect to look at current projected requirements, so we are able to
Okay.
capture growth, because if we're going to make an investment, obviously, you don't want to move in and then 2 years later, you're bursting at the seams, so we're going to
Yeah,
look at that.
correct. Thank you. Thanks, Mike.
I just have a little comment. I want to thank the staff for providing the information that we requested. It was very detail-oriented. Love the pictures of other coroners' offices, so thank you very much for that.
Welcome.
Do we have a motion? Oh,
So
You have a
moved.
question? Let's go ahead and get in discussion and ask it then.
Really quick tonight. We got another 4 hours. So, Mike, thank you for the, thank you for the information. So I have one question, and a couple comments. What opportunity do we have as council going forward to, look at what they come up with and try and reduce that cost further?
Well, I would suggest that when we get to a certain point in the design, we'll work with the architecture firm, that we could bring that to a workshop and present that to you all and get feedback at that time. So I'm guessing, 2 to 3 months, somewhere in that ballpark. But whatever the point is, before we reach the point of we can't change anything, we want to come back to you all and share it, so everybody's comfortable with what we're doing.
I do think there is a need for the coroner's office, and I just feel really strongly that the value for what we get for our taxpayer dollars is really important, and just because we approve a $7 million budget doesn't mean that we want to spend $7 million.
Agreed.
And so anything that we can do during the, I guess, the design phase, or the looking at everything phase, anything that we can do maybe going forward to just reduce that sum, just to look at it and be sure that we are getting the most value. And I do think it's a great benefit that we've got existing county property, and that's a huge savings, because it's money already well spent.
And I'll say we've already had discussions with the coroner's office in terms of, with the schematic you all saw, can we improve some efficiencies there? So we're already having those conversations, so.
Yeah, thank you for doing that. I appreciate it. Thank you.
So do we have a motion on the floor? I couldn't tell.
So moved.
Yeah, second.
A move to approve?
Move to approve.
Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. We move now to item number 2. Council to consider first reading by title only of an ordinance to amend sections 32.03 A and B of the York County Code of Ordinances in order to reduce the size of the Rock Hill York County Convention and Visitors Bureau to 7 district-specific members appointed by county council, to remove at-large membership to the board, and to provide for other matters related thereto. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve. Oh, well, just for discussion's sake.
Do we have a second? Do we have another motion? Motion fails for lack of a second. Do we have another motion?
Second.
Motion to deny?
Oh,
Yes,
wait, I
motion.
didn't hear. What was your?
I didn't say anything, but
Oh,
motion to deny.
I didn't hear that.
Do we have a second on that motion? All right, y'all, we got to have a second on one or the other.
Second.
Motion and a second to deny. Let's move into discussion.
I'll start. So I agree with Andy Clinton that the CVB is a little different than some of the other boards, because they are funded by other entities and the hotels, the accommodations and everything. So in my opinion, this is one that should remain as is, with the additional 8, I think it's 8 at-large members.
Yeah, I think what was presented tonight, looking at, where you bring that benefit to the community and how it's structured, you made a very good point, and I do appreciate you sharing that with us tonight, so thank you.
As it was said when Keep York County Beautiful made their presentation and the request to us to not reduce their board either, she talked about programming, outreach, and volunteering. And I don't know about you all, but through my life, professional life, I've sat on a lot of boards. And board numbers on the boards where I've sat are typically made up based on what is expected of the board. So if we say it's a 7-member board or a 15-member board or a 20-member board, I don't understand how we could vote to reduce a board if we don't know what the expectation is of board members. I'm in favor of leaving the CVB as is, but I'm saying we're going to vote on some other things as well. If you don't know what committees, you don't know what the expectations are of board members, how can we vote to reduce a board to 7? I can't unless I have more information.
Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Move now to item number 3, council to consider first reading by title only of an ordinance to amend sections 153.16A1 and A2 of the York County Code of Ordinances in order to reduce the size of the York County Planning Commission to 7 district-specific members appointed by county council, to remove at-large membership to the board, and to provide for other matters related thereto.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yeah, this is another example where I feel like at-large members make a difference. And I know that someone could argue that if you happen to reside in a district, that you're not going to act on behalf of the entire county with your decisions. All I can say is, as a council member, that's how I make decisions. I try to make decisions that are best for the county while taking into consideration the district that's being represented. So I would think there are other people out there that would volunteer on these boards that would do the same thing. So I'm not in favor of reducing the board.
So I'm in support of this, and the reason why I think this board right here, I think really what's the best word to say? I think the balanced approach on this is equal representation amongst all districts. I think this levels out the what I call the playing field when you come back for total feedback, because you have one individual representing one district and across the board. So I think this one, to me, makes logical sense to bring it to 7.
Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Opposed?
Motion carries 5-1. Move now to item number 4, council to consider first reading by title only of an ordinance to amend sections 32.36A1 and A3 of the York County Code of Ordinances in order to reduce the size of the York County Culture and Heritage Commission to 7 district-specific members appointed by council, to remove ex officio membership to the board, and to provide for other matters related thereto.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Opposed?
Motion carries 5-1. Item number 5, council to consider first reading by title only of an ordinance to amend sections 32.121A and B of York County Code of Ordinances in order to reduce the size of Keep York County Beautiful Board to 7 district-specific members appointed by county council, to remove at-large membership to the board, and to provide for other matters related thereto.
Motion to deny. Second.
Y'all are on the same page?
Real?
Motion to deny.
Make a note.
Do we have any discussion?
Yeah, I'll say why I think we should deny this, because, you know, one of the hardest things to get people to do is to go out and pick up litter. And when you've got a board and you've got what I kind of look at as those extra members who are interested in keeping York County beautiful, I think it keeps those people engaged. And you know, when you can't get all of them to come out and pick up litter, you can probably get about half of them to come and pick up litter, and that's so important. We appreciate, Allison, what you do, and I feel like it's not just a board, it's a team effort with them. So I think it's important for them to remain and have as many people engaged. Listen, if you ask me tonight, I'd say let's increase it to 25 and have more people out there, you know, helping pick up what other people, you know, don't secure on the way to the landfill sometimes.
Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries unanimously. Move now to committee and other reports. Health and Environmental Protection Committee, Chairman Watts Huckabee.
Yes, ma'am. So we had a meeting on Wednesday, November 8th at 6 o'clock. That was with council members Roddy and Audette. And what we discussed were the short and long-range master plans for parks and green space. So we have referred this back to Mike Moore and his staff, led by Catherine Jones, who will be putting together an RFP, and they're going to bring it back to us on December the 5th Tuesday, December the 5th, to share the RFP, and hopefully we will go to market and maybe hire a consultant to help us put together a master plan for our parks and green space.
Thank you, sir. Finance
You're
and
welcome.
Operations Committee, Chairwoman Allison Love.
All righty, the Finance and Operations Committee met today at 5:40. We considered applications for the Board of Assessment Appeals, made the recommendation for the consideration of the appointment of Vicki Smith for a first term. The Leslie Fire Tax Board, the reappointment of Paul Watts and Joe Coggins for a second term. The Bethel Lake Wiley Acquisition Preservation Park District, the recommendation for the appointment of Daniel Venasta for a first term, actually to fill out an unexpired term. The Planning Commission, we recommended to move John Segura to the vacant District 2 seat in case we eliminated any of those at-large seats which he is in, so he will become the District 2 Planning Commissioner.
Thank you, ma'am.
Can I ask a question of F&O? Is that okay? Relating to your report? Is that okay? I just wanted to clarify. I brought this up at a council meeting, and I wrote this to Councilman Audette and Atkins. But if somebody resigns, if somebody has resigned from a board, I would think they should wait a term before they would join another board, or that board in particular, as y'all are reducing the board sizes. To me, that makes sense, but that's just one person. Number two, if someone is in a term and they have 1 year, 2 years, 3 years left on their term, then that should be what's left on their term if they're appointed to another board. So I don't know if that's clarified. I don't know if that's in an ordinance, but there needs to be some clarification there, I would think. I see two people from that committee nodding their heads, but
Well, in this case, nobody has resigned from a board.
okay.
In any of these cases, no one has resigned.
So the only one that would apply would be if there are any years in a term, then that would carry forward to the next term. So if they had 2 years left, they'd have 2 years left. If 3 years left, 3 years left.
The ordinance is actually spelled out. I looked into it. I can't tell you exactly what it is now, but I've looked into it in the past. So, I mean, I think we can probably get that to everybody if everybody wants to see what the ordinance says. I don't remember to tell you exactly how that's worded. But in this case, no one has resigned. So we're moving a District 2 person into a District 2 seat. And I think that was the only one that's.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how?
We do have citizen concerns.
So what will we do? Are we going to revisit this? Does it matter, and that doesn't matter?
I think that what's happened is we have a report out of committee that has made a recommendation to council to move forward. And so when it comes forward to council at the next meeting, if there's something that you object to, you can bring it up then.
And will you get that for us, just so we can read that, or get
I'll get it.
Karen to do it
Yeah,
for us?
I'll get it.
That'd be great. Thank you.
All right, we move now to citizen concerns. Marshall Burns to address council regarding his proposal to allow tiny houses on wheels as an accessory dwelling units within our county.
Thank you for your time, I really appreciate it. My name is Marshall Burns. I'm born and raised in Rock Hill, South Carolina. I come from a family of fourth-generation car dealers. I went to Northwestern High School, graduated from Clemson University in 2022, and I'm working towards my general contractor's license. I currently founded a company called Hemlock Tiny Homes, which is a company that sells tiny houses on wheels. I'm also advocating for more affordable housing in York County. So first off, what are tiny houses on wheels? Tiny houses on wheels are compact, fully functional dwelling units constructed on trailer chassis, making them portable and mobile. Some key features of these tiny houses are portable, space efficient, affordable, sustainable, and growing popularity. Another note is many of these tiny houses and park models are regulated by HUD and NOAA code, as well as some IRC. So here are some current ADU regulations. I'm not going to go through them, but this just gives you an idea of what they are and how they can be tweaked to allow tiny houses on wheels, which wouldn't be too much of a problem. So here are some benefits of tiny houses on wheels as ADUs. So first off is it's an affordable housing solution. When I say that, I don't compare this to a 2,000, 3,000 square foot house, but I compare this to a traditional stick-built ADU. It's much more affordable and efficient to build these instead of doing the stick-built. Another thing is increase in housing stock. This allows people to have more density and allow more housing for different people. Another thing is sustainable and eco-friendly. So these tiny houses don't just cost less to build or have less materials and less work, but in the long run, they take less energy to condition. And then another thing is flexibility for homeowners. So not just the flexibility for people to do what they want with their property, but also the flexibility. So let's say if I have a kid who's graduating from college like me, who can't afford anything and want to put equity in anything because of the raising interest rates and the property values here. So how about I put a tiny house, let them put money down on that, and put it in my backyard and let them get a little equity in something. Or if I have aging parents who, instead of putting them in assisted living, put them in a tiny house in the backyard and give them an opportunity to stay around the family and be a unit. And not just the flexibility of that, but also the flexibility of having financial flexibility, allowing people to put tiny houses, or allowing to rent out an extra space. So if they need, I know it's a little touchy subject, but it's another option for people who have fixed income or are retirees. Another thing is avoid construction noise. Like I said, comparing this to tiny houses on wheels to traditional ADUs, you avoid the traffic, the noise, the mud. Instead, you just build a pad and drive a tiny house right on it. And then another thing is increase county revenue. So I believe that these tiny houses can park on on these properties will allow increase in property value, as well as another thing I want to point out is another thing to increase revenue is we could do a special tax on these tiny houses and making more legitimized and allowing opportunity for people to put that in their backyard legally. So here are a few addressing concerns is zoning and land use and property and code compliance as well as permitting. So some of the proposed regulations to adhere these concerns are must be certified by a third party, inspected by county officials. The foundation and tie-down regulations should be similar to manufactured homes. And zoning and permitting process is creating a new procedure to allow these tiny houses to be permitted and taxed and list in areas that allow these tiny houses ADUs. So here's economic impact. So potential for economic impact and growth, like I said, is increase in property values as well as help individuals who want to rent out an extra space. Then the second thing is strengthening our local housing market. So I think increase in housing diversity is huge for individuals like myself and like retirees who want a space. It's not to do the traditional 30-year mortgage. It's people like me who maybe want to find an alternative where they don't want to get struggled down by a 30-year mortgage for the rest of their life. They want something different. They want an alternative. They don't want the same old, And they say the thing that if it ain't broke, don't fix it, but it is broken and we need to fix it and help there to be more opportunity. And this, therefore, will make this a more attractive county for people to live in because they'll have more options and the ability to do something else. So what am I asking from the county, from you council members? So I want to create a committee that's focused on tiny houses and all their alternative housing so we can make a study and see if this is the right solution for our county. I want to have people in the county who focus on PR, taxes, zoning, quality of life, and et cetera, and make sure this is the right solution for your county. I know we can't just snap our fingers and make things change. I want to take steps to make those changes. And that's a conclusion. Using tiny houses on wheels as ADUs in your county will not only benefit the county, but also its residents. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you, sir. We move now to council member new non-agenda comments. Do we have any before we move into executive session?
Sure. I just want to wish everybody a very wonderful and safe Thanksgiving time off with your family and friends. Enjoy. Enjoy.
And I'd like to say, don't forget to give thanks other than just Thanksgiving. Give thanks every day.
Amen.
Thank you, sir. Do we have a motion for executive session?
Yes, we do. 2 items, receipt of legal advice, litigation update. Next, contractual matter, receipt of legal advice, satisfaction and release agreement.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, we'll move straight into executive session.
All right.
We are out of executive session. No action was taken. Do we have any motions?
Yeah, we get 2 motions. First one is motion to authorize the settlement and release agreement related to an economic development project in York County known as part of Project Gecko as discussed in executive session.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries.
Motion to authorize execution of satisfaction and release agreement with Blue Granite as discussed in executive session.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.